Mark Deering here with the Deering team. We got Casey Hague, and he just came back from doing something crazy. Polar roll. Yes, you've maybe heard of the polar roll if you're a mountain biker up in the UP, but to me, this is a whole nother animal. This was the polar roll snowshoe more than marathon.
Yeah, 30 miles.
30 miles of snowshoe running, and we all heard he was doing it, and we all thought he was crazy, like Casey always does. Casey always signs up for the crazy stuff. So he made it. He did it, and
a little sore, but yeah, made it. So
we're going to talk a little bit about it and just kind of see how things went. So I guess just open us up like the morning of. How'd it go the morning of?
Good. I mean, woke up. Driving up, checking the weather, a couple of times. It looked like it was going to be pretty nice. I was thinking it was going to be like 30 degrees, it's kind of the high for the day. Waking up, it turned out to be like 15 degrees when the race was supposed to start. And actually the feels like temp was, mine said -5. I heard people saying -10, -15, really windy and cold. So there's a lot of brave people on the start line. It was pretty tough to take off the puffy jacket and get into the thinner running stuff. So definitely was just kind of a big focus was to not only bring extra clothes with me, which I probably brought too much, but a lot of it was just kind of gauging the temperature. Being used to riding the bike and having the wind and kind of constantly being cold, running was pretty challenging, just trying to keep the heat under control, not get too hot. So
let's talk about that a second. I mean, you're an avid mountain biker. You've done extreme, Leadville, Margie, you've done a lot of these, Colorado to Michigan extreme rides and stuff. You know the bike real well and preparing for cold and fat biking.
Yep.
Big difference for getting ready for a running race? Or
definitely, just like with the running, you don't have as much wind and you just generate a lot more body heat. So that was really tough. When I started doing, some of the training runs that I did, which turned out
talk about that.
to not be as many as I thought. It's kind of keeping a journal of, hey, today was 20 degrees. I wore this. I was too hot. I was too cold. So that was a big challenge. Really on race day, my biggest fear was getting too sweaty and then getting cold because of it. So starting out, I would run, and if I felt like I was going to overheat, like on a big hill or something, I would stop and walk and just regulate temperature. So I think that was probably one of the smartest things I did all day.
Not to throw under the bus, but you brought it up. You said prepare.
Yes.
Casey's famous and able to. He's like one of the only people I've ever met that doesn't have to fully train for these things and can just run out there and do it. I don't know. He's a freak of nature, but
they hurt a lot more without the training. But
you just wanted to challenge yourself more.
Apparently. Yeah, and actually, I was. Kind of doing a recap of it and looking back on, going through the Strava account, and, I've been telling everybody that I was doing really good and consistently running up until the holidays. And that's when I fell off and stopped running. But going back through this Strava, I think I had 9 runs prior. So that was between, I want to say like mid-October is kind of when I really, I don't know. I was on the wait list for a little bit, and I think when I really started getting serious, but 9 times between October and pretty much right around Christmas.
And when you got serious, you put a 10-mile run in.
Yeah, 13 was the max. So I was looking at about anywhere from 2 miles is what I started with. The furthest I went was 13. I think I had a 7, a 6 in there. Big numbers.
And the second time you ever put these on was in the race.
Yeah. So
snowshoes.
I got snowshoes. Got snowshoes right around October. Obviously, the snow hasn't been great, so I really didn't have much of an opportunity to run in them. I did put them on in my driveway and ran a few back and forth, so a few 100 yards. So race day was really first time in the snowshoes and first time in the actual shoes that I ran in. So
I forgot about that. This was
yeah,
the first time in these bad boys too.
Yeah, and they're actually they're just the type of shoe. I don't know a ton about running shoes, but I did a decent amount of research, and they are a different sole shape and like footbed shape. So everything that you read about them tells you to not run like a long distance in them, to do a lot shorter, multiple runs to get your body used to them. So I followed those directions, and
I think you should send a letter to them and say you can.
Yeah. No, and honestly, they were fantastic. Like they were really, really comfortable, and everything actually gear-wise, couldn't have asked for anything better. There was a few things that I learned between lap 1 and lap 2 that if I had used the gear any amount of time beforehand, I would probably have known going in. But yeah,
that's crazy. Like, as you can tell, we're laughing and whatnot, but it's Casey's style. He puts his mind to it, and me, the opposite. I have to overtrain, and I still feel underprepared, and, whatever, and barely can finish something. But freak of nature right here. So we're going to flip over some of the pictures and the routes and whatnot. Let's see if I can do this here. Let's try right here. And yeah, I believe we're sharing that screen right now. Bear with me. There we go. So here is you crossing the finish line.
Yeah. So end of a long day.
Tell them the story about you running into Todd at the end. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. So I came down basically, I'd say maybe, I don't know, quarter of a mile up the pavement there. There was just kind of one 90-degree turn left, and actually ran into Todd, one of the race directors, who, thinks up all this crazy stuff. So ran into him and had a good chat with him. He was asking me about, as I was taking off my shoes to do the last paved section, just asking me about some of my motivation on why I signed up. And I mentioned to him that, I never really snowshoed before and that I was a biker. So he was asking me some questions about it. And I told him that the reason that I actually signed up for the snowshoe was that I heard everybody goes up there with their bike and ends up walking. So I figured I'd do it from the start. And he got a good kick out of it. But actually this year was one of the few years that they've had really good conditions for the bike.
You run.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just my luck. No, the course looked awesome and everybody out there was having a blast on the bike. So I was definitely, some of the downhills I was wishing I had my bike, and they do a great job though. As course was in perfect condition. They do a good job of grooming it. And
they do. They do, for those of you who don't know that probably do watching this video, but they do the Margie, they do the Polar Roll and the Crusher.
Yep.
And a big motivation of yours also to do the race was if you do all 3 of the ultra distances, the long distances, you are part of the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
And get invited to a separate, talk about that a little bit.
So there's, I kind of stumbled upon it. I did Margie, not this past year, but 2018, I did the 100-mile mountain bike. They also have a run and a few different distances for that, but I did the 100-mile mountain bike, which qualifies for part of this Triple Crown. And with that, like Mark said, you get invited to some special events, and there's only, I want to say, I think it's triplecrownendurance.com. They have, I think there's 9 people in it right now.
Oh, only 9. Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
I'm trying to share some of these pages here so they can see, but I'm not sure if it's getting shared exactly. Trying to do a one-man show here. Yeah. But the Polar Roll, great site. The Crusher, great site. That is a 225-mile gravel.
Yep. Yeah, they call it an enhanced gravel. So I think it's, from what I understand, it's a little bit maybe not as technical as, the Margie is, but kind of a gravel / mountain bike race. And obviously
Twice as long.
Yeah, yeah, casual. And it goes down the Keweenaw Peninsula from Copper Harbor to Marquette. So, yeah, I actually just literally 5 minutes before this just signed up and got my registration for that. So
sweet.
I don't even know when it is. Oh, July 17th through the 19th.
There you go. There you go.
Got a little bit of time to train for that one.
So wait till July 1st.
Yeah, and then really
do a few miles.
I'm gonna keep carb loading right now, but
and then the Margie, which you've already done, the 100.
Yep.
And like you say, that's another crazy one. That's all about crazy uphills, crazy downhills.
Yeah,
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, really technical riding. So a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of rocks, roots, you name it. So really technical course. And yeah, that one's a long one. I ended up, I want to say it was like 15 or 16 hours for that one. So I ended up in the dark for a little bit, and just definitely a tough one that beats you down and really, really, test your grit and your mental toughness. But like any of these races, especially this past weekend and going up to Margie, I've been up there once racing it, once support for another teammate on our Remax team. And just the people there that are at the aid station, the volunteers, people that are part of the race, people that are doing the race, everybody's super encouraging, and it's really an awesome community up there. And I mean, the support that you find out there, from all these people is huge. I mean,
Marquette, Ishpeming, that whole area. I wish it wasn't so far away. I'd go every weekend. Yeah, it's really cool up there, and that's where this 906 adventure team is putting all these races on, and promoters, and it's outstanding. Very cool. Well, let's see. Let's talk about your pack a minute. How heavy was that sucker? And that's not too bad.
No, it's just got just a puffy coat in it right now. So this is a Osprey Duro 15 liter. So I actually have the same one without the backpack. It's just like a 1.5 liter vest that I use for. Actually got it doing the Leadville 100 for biking. So I really like that. So when I found this, it has the 15 liter backpack. So I loaded it up with a puffy coat and warmer pants just in case. I mean, I really had no idea.
You take the fire starters like I mentioned?
No. I thought about it, but no, I didn't. I forgot. So I actually started with like 2 liters of water and like puffy coat and headlamp and hand warmers. I mean, I was really kind of paranoid about, I really had no idea what to expect. So I kind of brought way too much stuff. In hindsight, I actually it's got like,
I like that front part.
Yeah. So this is really nice. And like I said, the smaller version's been really nice too, but it's got a bunch of pockets, so you can just stuff food and blocks and gels and stuff in there. Also on the waistband here. One of the things that I did though is I got like a thermal 4 Seasons thing to try and keep the water warm. And actually my water froze within the first 8 miles, for sure under 10. So I don't know if it's just that I had like a gap when I was cutting down
the -15.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just so cold or what, but it did freeze up. So I actually ended up pulling that out 8 miles in, which I think was, in hindsight, a really good thing, just because it took so much of the weight off. And actually the night before I kind of, you always get paranoid and worried. But I actually kind of went the opposite way and started pulling some stuff on, and just kind of talking myself into the fact that I was just, kind of getting in my head. So I pulled out a lot of stuff and ended up with, pretty light pack that was nice to run in. So it was actually super comfortable. And
so you'd use that pack again? That'd be
definitely. I think, knowing what I know now, it's it's always easier to say now, but really I couldn't ask for any better of a setup. My clothing, my temperature, everything was pretty perfect all day. There was a few times where I got a little cold, especially towards the end when I really couldn't run, the same speed. It was, I started getting a little bit cold, but I really didn't dive into the backpack for much. So, no,
if you guys do have
cool
more questions too, like exactly if you're going to go for it or give it a run, or even if you just want some questions, feel free to ask him, in the comments below.
Absolutely.
And like what he wore for a jacket and what you wore for.
I'm actually wearing the same one today. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Haven't taken it off.
Nope, still wearing it. So I've been sleeping in it.
That's awesome.
No.
I'll do the same thing. Where's your belt buckle from Leadville?
Yeah, it's on.
So let's we got a couple more pictures here. Wanted to share, and phone's ringing. Was ringing. Glad it shut off. So there's the one that we had already seen, and then so we've got nice close up here.
Yeah.
This is a Rob Meendering picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rob Meendering, one of our favorite local photographer, was up there capturing the moments, and Casey grabbed a couple shots from him. This is the finish line shot. I can look at that. Look at it. Got peanuts hanging out.
Got some food left.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Rob does a great job, and it's always really cool to see him out in the woods getting.
He's always saying funny things, like in mountain bike races. He's always you're in the middle of like 180 beats per minute heart rate. You're like focused and like, hey, Rob. He's like, hey, what? It's just he catches you off guard and it motivates you.
Yeah.
So here's the screenshot of the route that you ran. The green dots would be where you started.
Yep, start and finish. So for us, doing the 30-mile snowshoe, there was a 30-mile bike, but they actually did a different course and then led into this. We started out with there's a 15-mile snowshoe and a 15-mile bike. So we all started together, and us 30-mile snowshoers did 2 laps of this. So it started right in downtown Ishpeming at the high school and kind of ran you down the streets there. So there's maybe a mile total of pavement, but it kind of just started out pretty hilly and then went up in the woods and twisted back through. And
part of the Margie Trail or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Some parts. So
yeah, that's awesome there. I mean, if you guys haven't been in Ishpeming or Marquette in the summer or the winter, and you like to do anything outdoors, get up there.
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
it's crazy. You don't even feel like you're. I mean, as a lower Michigan person, you don't even feel like you're in Michigan.
No,
it's just insane how cool it is. And here's some more of like your splits. You talked about this a little bit when you got back, like how they didn't really drop off that bad. I mean, I guess they did a little towards the bottom, but I mean, par for the course. I mean,
yeah, and actually, so this is only 25 of the 30. My watch died. So I didn't even get a chance to. I was trying not to look at my mileage. I didn't want to see how far I had gone, but it actually died before I got a last look at it. So the last 5 miles was probably more than that, was completely blind of.
Okay.
Worrying about there was a time cutoff, so I was kind of worried about that and just worried about how fast I was going. And definitely, I'd say like the first 15 miles was an absolute blast. Like I had so much fun. The course was awesome. The people out there were awesome. The gear was perfect, and it was just really cool and super fun. Probably in the 15 to 20 felt okay, and then the 20 to 23 or 4 was pretty rough, and then probably about, I'd say like 24, 26 for sure. I was like, my legs were done. Yeah. So
I can't even imagine.
I couldn't. And it's weird. It was a weird feeling too, because like on the bike, a lot of times, you go out like Margie was a 15, 16 hour day for me. And it's like, by the time I'm mentally out of it, my legs are kind of out of it too. But with this, it was like, I was so mentally ready to do it and keep going, but my legs just weren't having it. And so that was tough, because it was like, kept telling myself to run, and it could really only.
I don't think I've ever had that. No.
Yeah, it's not good, me either. So it was
Either
tough.
my
Towards the
body
end,
and
it was definitely
my body and mind quit.
yeah, at the same time done. No, so yeah, the last little bit was definitely a huge struggle, but
And you had great support. You had your dad up there.
yeah. Luckily, I was kind of planning to go by myself, but then my dad jumped in last minute and went up there with me, so that was huge. I definitely couldn't have done it without him. So that was cool to see him.
Cool little spot. You said there's a lot of spots where you could kind of.
Yeah, there was definitely a good amount. Go in the woods for a handful of miles and then pop out on a road and see him randomly.
Yeah.
And there's some spots where he's able to drive along the road and it was cool. So
yeah,
it was definitely really, really good to have him there. And even the people, like I said, like at the aid stations and stuff, everybody's up there having a really good time and having, fires and food and fireball, there's shots of whiskey and just really, really good people up there. And definitely don't think that myself or a lot of the other racers out there probably would have, finished or been able to do what we did without them. So big shout out to them.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
We were all like cheering you on, and like your dad was sending the updates, and I'm like, post those on the page. We want to see those. And I mean, I was just like watching that first video he sent, just like, holy cow, I just got all excited like I was there. And to see team members go out and do crazy big things is really fun to watch. Yeah. And so congratulations.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
If you got any more questions for Casey, got any closing comments or anything, or if you got, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, I mean, I definitely think everybody should get out and do, something like this or whatever pushes you to your limits. And it's always an awesome experience. And I never, I might get in a tough spot out there, but I always come away with, the huge accomplishment or learn something about yourself. So, definitely everybody should get out there and push themselves. And if you have any questions on gear or something I can answer, I'd love to talk with anybody. So
awesome. Yeah. And we are real estate agents. So if you have any real estate questions,
let us know. Yeah. Talk about houses.
Yep. So on the adventure page, we do a lot of reviews on stuff like this and talk about different events. So, check us out on YouTube too. And we're just going to keep doing adventures, and you'll keep doing crazy stuff. I'll do semi-crazy stuff.
There we go.
So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll be in touch.